Imagine this. You wake up one morning, grab your phone, and something's off. Your social media accounts are locked. Your friends are getting strange messages from you. Your bank sends an alert. A new credit card opened in your name. It's like someone broke into your house, only this time the doors weren't physical. They were digital. The internet. It's our home, our office, our memory bank. It connects us to opportunity, to knowledge, to each other. But behind every click lies a silent battlefield, one where the enemy isn't always visible. Every year, millions fall victims to cyber attacks, scams, data breaches, and online manipulation. In 2024 alone, global cybercrime losses surpassed 10 trillion, and experts warn that number could double within a decade. But it's not just about money. It's about privacy, trust, and identity. The internet has become the new frontier of both innovation and intrusion. And while technology evolves, the fundamentals of safety, awareness, vigilance, and responsibility have never been more vital.
Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
We got ourselves a guest today, so we'll go ahead and
We do. This to help us navigate this complex landscape. We're joined by a very good friend of mine. I've known
Maybe not as long as Jason.
I've known our guests for over 30 years now, and
I've known him for about 6.
But he has been on the front lines of this issue for well over a decade, and we're excited to have him here. His name is Randy Hidalgo, and Randy, welcome to the Retrospect podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. It's a lot of information you shared just now, and honestly, you can break it down into parts because you have your cybersecurity, you have your information protection, you got so much that you can talk about, and there's no way you could talk about it in one show.
Well, we can turn this into 2 if we have to, but I think the key word was intrusion.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I think let's start with let's talk about hardware.
Well, I guess before we do that, can you just share a little bit about I guess kind of your? You said you've been doing it for 10 years, I guess. And like, in what space did you, I guess, occupy this kind of role in cybersecurity stuff? Is that like a? So
it's more of a role of so I worked for the state police. I recently retired this year after 32 years, and I think in 2007 I got put into the technical support unit for state police, and we did a lot of your computer forensics, video forensics, wiretaps, covert camera installs, and we assisted our child predator unit in that realm. They would do the online solicitation and stuff, and we would have to do the computer forensics on the back end. So, I would always say, whenever we were hiring somebody for the section, because you had to look at those images to get them ready for court, and that was something I would like look at them and say, I'm about to change your life, the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And it really was something that kind of sat on me when I would interview, because once you see that, I can't unsee it. And so I always thought that and stuff. So we did all those different things, and great people over there, and got to work with a lot of great people. Got to work with not just in that section, but throughout the state. Right. But and we would go talk to schools and talk to kids and try to educate, because that's the best thing you can do, is educate the kids. And the parents. I was thinking, I
didn't mean to interrupt there, but I was saying the parents too.
Because and usually when we would go to the schools to talk and stuff, it was we would do one for the kids during the day, and then in the afternoon we would meet and do one for the parents. And the kids are like, nothing. But the parents would like keep you there forever, because they had all kinds of questions. What app can I put on this? What can I do with that and stuff? And so there are a lot of different things, and we can kind of delve into that.
If I may, with the kids, you have to be extra cautious because my stepson is so advanced. We just found out, okay, he's a runaway.
Okay.
And he's living with his father right now. And for some reason, he kept getting in trouble in the school. And they kept saying they kept contacting the domicile parent, which is my wife, Miranda. Well, we would not get phone calls or text. He was somehow able to block the school's phone from his mother's phone with no access to her phone. And we had to go through a process to unblock that. So now the school can contact us.
Kid's pretty good.
Okay. So now these kids are so advanced today. When we were growing up, our electronics was, I remember when I got my first transistor radio that I could put under my pillow and listen to the music.
Right.
And it was just AM. And then, then you got your FM. And then for us, it was a little TV time on Saturdays watching cartoons. Then it became, when the mother started going to work, then it became the afternoon babysitter. So your intrusion was now the cartoons and the commercials, the toys and things like that. And so that changed the way now you have a phone. I have this great picture with a little baby with a 9mm in its diaper, leaning on a couch, looking at the telephone. And the meme says, there is no reason a child that young should have a telephone. Okay. And they're in your home. They're in your home with the internet. They're in your home on your phones, because these are the new babysitters.
Right.
They're the new babysitters. And so the kids don't even realize what's happening to them until they turn into my stepson and uses it for nefarious instead of good purposes.
When we go out to talk to different schools, I thought it was always funny because the guy I went with, he was hilarious because he would be like, because he's older my age, and he would always be like, he'd hold up his phone and goes, the entire Encyclopedia Britannica is on this thing. And those kids would look at us like,
what is that?
What is that?
What is that?
Yeah. And then he would follow up, I remember when they created the Chicken McNugget. And it was like, and they were like, whoa, their eyes were open and stuff. And it was just funny, funny how he would say it and stuff. But it is, and you got to just deal with it. You got to figure out what's the best way and the best approach. And, and in most houses, like, y'all have a router here, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And so, most of your routers come pre-made with the admin and whatever the password is. And so that's a big vulnerability because, that list of passwords is out there. And so, because that's the first way in. Mm-hmm. That's your first wave. And it really is. So you have to do something about it. And a lot of people go in, they'll change the password. All right, we're going to change the password. Well, so what I've done is I've changed the username.
Yeah.
And the password.
Done the same thing as well for this.
Because they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, everybody knows it's admin.
That's default. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the default. And so that gives them a better platform to run against to try to hack it and stuff. And because if they get in your router, they're getting into everything.
That's right.
And that's something you don't want. So that's the number one thing that I always tell people is you gotta. It's like putting an alarm on your house.
Yeah.
But wasn't there a number of years ago that people were making a mark near your driveway if you had unprotected internet access? Do you remember that?
So I'd heard of that before. Like, I don't know where I'd seen it on social media or whatever, but I've never seen it.
I was just wondering if that was true. If you had any,
I have no.
It's hard to imagine that. I mean, I know people do that don't lock their routers down. I mean,
there are people that don't.
I know they don't. Oh, yeah. It's just, to me, that blows my mind. I mean, I don't get that, but I guess some people just get frustrated. Especially, I can imagine older people.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
That
don't know.
I mean, that's
why we're here today is to help the young know.
My own parents, I mean, they struggle with that stuff. And I mean, it's like, we have to kind of, make sure you do this, and to kind of keep yourself protected. But
I've pulled pranks at restaurants sometimes because they'll have unprotected Wi-Fi, but they'll also have unprotected printers. Mm-hmm. There's been a handful of times where I've jokingly printed something goofy back there, and it's a joke that I probably will never hear the conclusion to. But I hope that someone out there that's in the back office of a restaurant is like, "Why does it say I'm watching you on this piece of paper?"
Well, see, my jerk move is I name my Wi-Fi FBI surveillance van number 5.
There you go. That's nice.
Yeah. So the one that gets me the most is like, so my mom's older, she's in her 80s and stuff, and it's the calls.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, that used to be the original. Well, other than selling the Golden Gate Bridge,
right?
It was the phone calls, and didn't we do an episode on scams where we're talking about why was that effective? Is because older people are just lonely, and men are lonely.
Well, I think it also has to do with the fact they still have landlines.
Right.
Nobody that's probably under a certain age.
I haven't had a landline.
Still has a landline.
It's been
20
a long
years,
time.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the spams that you're getting on your cell phone.
Okay, yeah.
And so she'll get them, and she, and then sometimes it'll be the one where, oh, hey grandma or whatever and stuff.
And AI is turning that into something else because they can mask your voice now.
Right. And so it kind of sounds like, and my mom's she's funny. That's I want to be like her. It's like, really? Well, I need some money too. And she'll start arguing with them because she doesn't have nobody to talk to sometimes. So she'll start having a conversation and they hang up quick. And I'm like, man, that's how you do it. And it was just amazing.
Isn't that one of, if I can, it just popped in my head. And sorry, with this brain damage, sometimes when it pops in, I got to say it or I forget it. But that's one of the things, one of the rules they're saying. If you answer a phone call, never say the word yes, because they're able to take that. Can you hear me? Yes. Well, if they can record that word yes, then they can do something else further down the road with recording your voice or something. Have you heard that?
I think it was a few years ago, but now with AI being able to like remaking your voice from you just a few sentences, now it's even worse, scarier. Yeah, but it's in a different way now.
And I think that the worst part about that is and it's hard to not answer the phone when you don't know the number. But
I don't.
But you don't answer the phone because all it is it's part of their automatic generated thing to see if there's really a person there.
Yeah. Right.
And once you answer it, guess what? Your numbers. Well, no, they don't.
They're going to sell it. They're going to sell it to everybody.
They sold it to everybody, and that's part of the money. You know, it's all about making money.
Yeah.
And because you talk about individual families that you usually see that give up money and get hit. Usually, they have bigger bank accounts.
Right.
And because they know. My son, his I think it was through the OMV hit. His Social Security number got leaked.
Yikes!
Well, a lot of people's information.
Right.
This was a couple years ago. It was all in the
It
news.
doesn't even have to be leaked. It's just a random number generator that they're throwing. I mean, it's always going to. You only got so many numbers.
Right, and it either came from there or from we found out the school that he went to, their information got out there because they had to disclose it and stuff. And now he's like, for the rest of my life, I have to enter this number for social when he does his taxes because his Social Security number was, compromised. Yeah. Somebody filed taxes with his social, so now we have to do it. And the biggest thing, because I'm going with a subject on that, is there's 3 credit bureaus. Lock them all. I mean, are you going to buy something? I mean, if you're going to buy something, yeah. But like, for example, I was refinancing a car recently, and they set the thing. So they had said, I think it was TransUnion that they use. I'm like, all right, I'll unlock it for 24 hours. And then they sent me back the thing denied. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, we check all 3. I said, well, you didn't say that at first.
Yeah,
So I only unlocked 1. So, because you can unlock them and set the time period for what you want them unlocked, and then I'll lock it back down. So mine, my wife, and my 2 kids are locked.
Yeah.
You're not, because when do you really have to purchase something big? You're going to know when you're going to purchase something big.
Right.
When do you, how do you lock that?
You go to the providers. I think it's
TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax.
Equifax. Yep.
Yeah. And Miranda and I did that too. We went, both of us, locked. Everything is locked.
Yep.
And you just have to unlock it when it comes time to you gotta
go like on their website. Big. Like, is there like a
you have to go into their
because you have an account with them.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I have LifeLock.
Okay.
Oh, you do that? Yeah.
I have LifeLock, so I have
it for you.
access to all that, and
Nice.
I can do that, kind of manage it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. LifeLock gives you the one spot to manage. I just like, I wasn't paying for the LifeLock. And,
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I just went in, and that's the easiest way. You just lock them down. I mean, and that's going to,
It's like you said, if I'm going to go buy a car this weekend, I'll unlock it for Saturday or something and just make sure. And then Saturday at midnight, it locks it back and it's a wrap.
Yep. So, because I remember I used to always get the credit card things. Hey,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So once I lock that credit down, I'm not getting them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they can't see it.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And so. And I was like, man, this is great. I wish I would have known about this years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I would have locked all this stuff down. But that's one of the key things I would do, especially with all the scams and stuff that are going on, and all the, everything, just bad information out there as far as, it's them trying to get money is what it is. And it's like, they always tell you never click on anything you don't know. Never open an email from anyone you don't know.
We just recently in my workplace had an issue with that, where someone had created a Gmail account with one of our employees, like first and last name, in like a way that made it seem pretty legit, and then was like sending out like individual emails to everyone in the company around, asking for some like pretty sensitive information, but like saying it in such a way with like, hey, whenever you get the chance, just could you send me that over? And then I work in a workplace with some older people that may not have understood that. So the boss was like, hey, so I'm gonna need you to like send out an email to like everybody, being like, we had a big spoofing incident where, and so I did that recently, where that was probably like a week or two ago.
I've been around computers for a long time.
Yeah.
And a couple of things that I did to make my life a lot simpler was I have 4 emails. 1, family and friends only. 2, when I sign up for something. 3, that I use when I don't want to ever see it again. And 4, for anything else.
Right.
And so nobody has my personal email. So if it comes through, I pretty much know. And it's not just a normal little thing.
That's
there.
that's pretty good.
And then if I go to Home Depot and I want a credit card with Home Depot, I'll use this one. So if they sell it, I know what's going on, because with Gmail, you can add the Home Depot part to the email. And so when it comes back that they sold the Home Depot one, bam, guess what? I know Home Depot sold my email. And then that way, if it comes to my personal one, I know probably 99% I'm safe.
Yeah. I mean, you got to know who's sending you stuff to. What you got hit by is what they call a business email compromise.
Right.
Somebody spoofed that and was able to get in.
Pretty smart though, if you think about it, because a lot of emails are name, last name, first initial name, dot, last name, something else.
Yeah,
and that's.
But the good I think we were able to catch it. We were able to catch it fast enough that
that's good.
It
Nobody got dinged.
No, we had a few like staff meetings that we had in between that. So I think some people kind of asked questions, which I'm glad that we're getting to that point now. We're like in the position that I'm in. I'm like, but if you even have the inkling of like questioning security for something or wondering about this, just ask a question. Just hesitate before you just like send out the email. If someone sends you a link from an email address you don't know, please don't click on it, because it's probably something bad.
Right.
Like that kind of stuff. And I think I'm getting to a point where like that's the culture now, where like people are starting to be a little bit more hyper vigilant, which I think is good about some of that stuff. Sometimes it can kind of be a bit of a bottleneck, but in a situation like this happens, everyone's like, hey, this is kind of weird. And I'm like, perfect. That's great. And I send it out to everyone, hey,
but y'all can also use that as a teaching thing and help people understand it, especially some of the older people.
So what I've heard right now is some things that our listeners can take is, one, routers. Number one. So we need to lock down our routers. So we need to make sure that they're at least password protected.
And change
the password from the original.
Yes,
correct.
And also because the default's admin, and if you look underneath the router,
it's there. I mean, the only person's going to see that is
but there's
you,
also
unless you
or your 15-year-old son, who you don't want to have access to the internet.
There's also ways around some of that too, where people can potentially get
Right, and so,
well,
two, we want to make sure our credits are locked down to prevent any if we are compromised, then they're probably going to run into a brick wall there. Three, I heard you about possibly having multiple emails. I don't know if that's a good common if that's a best practice. So what
you can kill it. Go ahead. You're the expert. It's what I've done in my life to make my life easier.
Randy, what other things that our listeners should be concerned about? When we're talking about this online world, and we're going to maybe dive into some of the more sensitive stuff if we can go there with some of that, especially what parents can be looking out for when it comes to that kind of stuff. So. What would be another common practice, maybe a household can really engage in to maybe help secure their online presence?
So what you and I both worked for the state, and well, you did too, and every year we had to do the cybersecurity class.
That's right.
We had to do it. And so I'm interested to see, do y'all do that in the private sector, or you're in the private sector?
Sometimes, yeah. A lot of times we tried to sit down and get some security stuff, like cybersecurity stuff, as far as like good practices was what, whenever I got on board, they didn't really have any of that. And they were like, and again, obviously I think the older generation of people in the workplace were talking about, because they've had other meetings kind of like in the past or they've been able to talk to people in the like cybersecurity world. So I think they were also thinking about it a lot. So I came in to kind of help out with some of that stuff too, to kind of just go through things with a comb and just make sure everything looks all good and protected. But a lot of times we set some practices in place, because there were, like, again, it was just, they used to just leave computers unlocked that would just be on. They would just walk away from the desk, and sometimes they would shut down, but sometimes they would leave apps open that would just like keep the computer on perpetually. They didn't know any better. So, and again, logged into social media, emails, you name it, just things like that, where it's like, hey, whenever you're leaving the office, like, go ahead and lock it, put it to sleep, put some sort of, or shut it down, anything. Just don't leave it. That kind of stuff.
I'll go on a story with that one.
Yeah.
So we used to do what they call countermeasures, where you would go out and look for devices, see if there's any type of listening device and stuff.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we try to do it where they don't know we're coming.
Of course.
But a lot of times they'll say, hey, those guys are coming,
Yeah.
And so the funny ones I always saw was, because I would always tell them afterwards when I brief, hey, make sure your computer's locked. Make sure that that you lock it and you turn it off at night. Because you don't need to leave it open, because you can get into it. So this one place, they locked everything down and stuff, but on the keyboard they had their username and password.
No. Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
you can't do that.
I'm like, well, that kind of
defeats the whole purpose.
They were like, we shut it down. And I'm like, yeah, but you put your username and password right here. And they're like,
you locked the door, but then you kept the key outside.
Right. So I thought that was always the funniest thing.
Yeah.
But I think, because I did the military too. I was in the Guard for a long period of time too. And every year we had to do the cybersecurity class. We had to do, PII, information protection. And I'm like, I wish there was something for like regular, and there are probably something out there that you can go do, just to kind of give you an overview of what to and what not to click on. I know there's a couple different courses, like Course A, RA, or whatever it is. They offer different things, and some of that's paid. But just to educate yourself, because you don't know. I mean, I know because, and we kind of take it to heart, saying, oh, yeah, everybody should know it. But they don't. A lot of people don't know, hey, this is an email. Okay, let me look at it. Click on it, and it's like, and it's kind of funny because in the training that they give on the state level, it gives you the option, oh, you clicked this, oh, that was wrong, or this was right. And so it kind of embeds it, and it's like, oh yeah, I got to do that training again this year. But you know what? It's actually, reprocessing it through you each time, and now you're actually, this doesn't look like a duck, and it's not sounding like a duck. So guess what? It's probably not the duck,
right?
And therefore, you alert people and let them know. And I think, especially on the big scale, because that's who they're after, because that's your money. That's where it's at. And,
of course,
like in these smaller businesses, but they're got a lot of money. It's all about that. And so educating them on, knowing what not to click on and looking at it and kind of, it's just go talk to the person.
Yeah.
If you got an email from somebody, I think that the biggest thing that the thing that we were missing the most is people don't communicate anymore.
Oh yeah.
Verbally.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We communicate via text and stuff like that. And I'm not a big texter, so
Yeah.
I'm going to call and talk to you.
Every 2 weeks we have like a big staff meeting where everyone sits down, and at first I think people still aren't all totally on board with it because we try to keep it to an hour, but inevitably we always go to like an hour and a half, sometimes almost 2 hours, just because like we're trying to get calendaring out the way, we're trying to get communication stuff, and it's always like we're all here. Let's sit down and let's like if you have any concerns, anything you want to bring up, like now's the time where we all are here, where we can move forward. And at first, I think people were really kind of like, well, staff meeting, like, but it's also like I've been trying to keep the dialogue of like, but also like, do you know what's taking place in the next like 2 weeks? Do you know what you have to do, like your actionable items, like all those things that like. And they're like, I mean, yeah. I'm like, well, then we probably wouldn't have had that if we're all. I mean, we could have done it, but I think it's better we can all leave and we all know what we're doing for the next couple of weeks, and we all can move forward. And if we need to, we can follow back up with emails. But let's all talk around a big table together and not over email. Because my gosh,
Randy, I have a question for you, or just kind of your opinion on a products that you can buy. I see a lot of things about virtual private networks. What's kind of the scoop on these sort of products that supposedly enable you to browse internet without people seeing your IP address, or kind of maybe if you want to talk about that a little bit and what's going on with that?
So the VPN, which is the virtual private network, kind of masks where you're at, and so this is
Kinda.
Yeah. Well, this is what's funny about it, and because normally I don't use it, because I'm not.
You're right.
But I do when I'm trying to get an airline ticket, because they will. I've seen the different prices, and I'm like, this is crazy. So if I VPN, say I'm somewhere else in the country, and I'm going from New Orleans to Orlando, I'll get a different rate. And that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Now that's new. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you heard it first here at the Retrospect podcast.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And then I started looking at it, and then they always talk about they dropped the rates on Tuesdays and stuff.
Yeah,
it's all AI
of course,
it's generated.
It's all algorithm based, where it all fluctuates.
It's not a Tuesday. It just seems like a because in your mind you're like, oh, well, that's the day I went and looked. Well, yeah, it was cheaper, but yeah, so
it also depends on how far out you get the ticket, because sometimes if it's too close, they ramp up the prices.
Right.
But if it's far enough, there's like a Goldilocks zone of like a few months.
There is,
but it trends down if you go too far out. I don't know why. It just is a weird thing. It's weird.
Well, it's always watching and it's always listening. The phones are always listening. Your computers are always listening. It was probably a year and some change before the accident. Miranda and I were sitting there talking, and I said, you know what, baby? We need a rolling ladder for our library.
I remember you told me about this. Yeah.
2 weeks later, something popped up on Facebook, on sale, rolling ladder, 18 by 12 foot library case.
Yeah.
They're listening.
So,
they're always listening.
Well, so think of it this way. So if I was going to say, okay, Google or Alexa, it's got to know, right? So it's got to be listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and so I think that the thing that people kind of, I guess, use it to your advantage, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So I do a lot of online, like I'll buy stuff, like just whatever, and I'm not let me buy it immediate, quick. I want to look at different prices and stuff.
Right.
So what I'll usually do is I'll go in and I'll search. Hey, let's just say I want to buy the Titleist Pro V1Xs. Where am I going to get the best price for these? So I'm not ready to buy them yet, but I want the best price.
Of course.
So I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to get emails.
Oh,
this is the cheapest price. So I'll go and look at it, and I'll wait because I'm going to get a better price. and I'll wait it out. And I'll wait all them emails to come in because it's all about marketing and it's all about giving. And then usually I'll find the best price and then I'll go back to the military thing and get the discount on it. And then I'll get the price.
So I want to go just a little step further. Than that. These phones now.
Okay.
Can you turn it off?
Yes.
No, you can't.
You can turn the power down.
You cannot turn the phone off. And this is one of the reasons that they stopped the removable battery. Because before, you could actually take the battery out and the phone was off.
Yeah,
just because you turn it off, the phone is still listening in the background. So if you have the phone next to your bed, when you and your wife are having sex, somebody's listening to that shit. Because now you can only turn it off.
Computer's listening to that. I don't think someone is listening to it. Okay.
You don't know though, do you?
I don't think that people. Okay.
Someone, AI is someone. Does AI identify now as a person? Okay.
No, it's
something. Let me rephrase it. Something is listening, because you can't truly turn your phone off now. You can't remove the battery from
it. Have you ever heard of well, I mean, you can put a Faraday bag and stuff like that,
right?
And block the signal from it. I know that when 9/11 happened and all those phones that were off, they were able to turn them on and activate them, so they could find the bodies and see if they could locate people and stuff. I think the guy that did he was over Blackwater, maybe. He's got the phone. Indestructible, or
I think that's what, something like that.
That phone you're not going to get anything from it. And it's pretty much just it will go brick if you don't put it in and stuff. So I mean, I just use it for my benefit. I always put if I'm searching for something, I want it to look because I'm looking, and I'll do those different things and stuff. And kind of, that's like when people talk about Chat GPT, a lot of people because that's the new AI world,
Right.
Are we scared of it and stuff? I'm like, no, I'm using it. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, playing a video game. I want to know what the best layout for this boat is. Yeah. I'm using it.
Right.
And you got to take it to heart. I mean, part of it, because some of it's wrong. I'm like, dude, this thing you told me to get, I can't get. It's not there anymore. And so I find myself having conversations back and forth with Chat.
Well, that's wrong. Why it's called Chat GPT.
You're wrong on this. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, sorry. No, I went and tried to look for this for like 30 minutes. So I'm finding myself, man, I'm having a full conversation with this AI.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
What is the misunderstood part of online security for the average person or family? In your experience,
I guess so. Let's talk about kids. Sometimes I think kids, as far as they get these devices, and you said it about it's a babysitting device and stuff like that, and that's what parents give it to them for. Now that's their world, so everything in it's their world, and so a lot of your online predators know that. Because if you're going to go fishing for fish, you're not going to go fishing in a parking lot.
Right.
And so you're going to go fishing there. A guy from State Police used to say that all the time when we go talk to kids. And I thought that was just, it made him.
Kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Makes sense. And he would always tell them, I'm the cutest little 14-year-old you ever seen. And it was true. And so I think the biggest thing that this phone does, it can give you so much, but these kids get on there and they start talking to these people, or they start communicating with these people. And we would always say, if you never broke bread with them, you don't really know them. You don't know who that person is. Unless you've actually broke bread with them, you have no clue.
Yeah.
And it could be that predator and stuff. And so it's kind of, making your kids aware, because there's apps like Bark is one of the big ones. That's the big one for the phones. That it costs a little bit of money, but it uses AI to see the words and everything to see if is this bullying or is this that and that. But it can be wrong. It can be wrong, and so because everybody's asking me what apps, so I'll tell them, but they never ask the question, what have you used? And I'm like, I have a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old. Didn't use anything, you know?
Yeah.
You hope that you prepare them for life. You know, you hope that you teach them the things right and wrong, and you hope that, you know, that they can come to you if they have issues and stuff. And usually, I always tell them, if you have anything, make sure you go to your mama. So, yeah, and so, and there are kids are vicious out there, and then, so I always tell them that if somebody's asking you for something, you know, then they're not really your friend. If they're asking you for, you know, pictures of yourself, they're not. I mean, they should know what you look like. Why do they need a picture of you? You know. So, and I think kids these days get caught up in that. You know, they get caught up in the, you know, they let people talk to them and tell them these things and, you know, bad things about them and stuff, and not enough kids hear good things, and sometimes they go down the wrong route and stuff, and then there's no reinforcement from their parents there. I think if we, like younger kids, I think if you limit the amount of time they have on there, you don't really need to monitor their, I mean, you can monitor activity and lock some things down where they shouldn't go to certain things and stuff, but be open with them and communicate and talk to them and stuff. I think that's one of the better policies as far as that goes. I can't even remember what your question was, but I was trying to.
No, it was just, it was, what is the most misunderstood part of online security for the average person or family?
Yeah, there's.
You did all right with that one. That's a good answer.
That you think you secure on everything.
Yeah.
And you're not, you know. Because all they need to start doing is, like when you do pictures, they always want to post these pictures. Oh, let me post where I'm at and stuff. Okay, let me post my picture outside this. Oh, well, you're at this school. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know, if you're posting it out there and I'm seeing it, you know where they're at. And then you see the trends of when they post their pictures, and it's over and over again. Okay, I know that at the school, they're outside at 3:30 every day, and somebody doesn't pick them up until 5. You know?
Yeah.
And so that's the information you don't want to share out there with nobody. And I think that we put information out there. With all these TikToks and stuff, and what do they call them? Influencers.
Yeah.
All these influencers. Oh, I'm going to such and such. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You know, I'm kind of private in my world. I don't want all my information out there and stuff. But realize again, guess what? Those influencers are making what? Money.
Yep.
And so therefore they're putting all their information out there. And so, and I think in some of those cases, because, you know, they're like, man, these people are stalking me, or this is that. You created that environment, and not anything against them, but by sharing all that information, there's people that
you
are
definitely
not,
weren't making it hard.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that aren't very good out there.
Yeah,
and there's some bad, evil people out there, and so and I think my kids kind of got the brunt of that too, because like I would, like whenever we went anywhere, I had to have them in my sight. I had to know where they were at. You know, I had to kind of keep them. You know, but as far as the phones, you know, I kind of let them open up and stuff. We didn't let them get the apps until probably high school, maybe.
Yeah.
And that was out of my control. That the boss talked about that. So, you know,
Mom again.
Yeah. And so I just kind of like, okay, I'm in total agreement.
I don't think I really got social media until I was like at the tail end of high school, or like getting out of high school, because that was like when it was
probably a good
coming
thing.
out. Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say is like I don't think I got really into social media until I don't want to say got into it. I don't think it was like a thing until I was like really getting out of high school, and then that was when it was kind of becoming a thing, a more popularized thing. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I had social media just all the time from when I was a child.
I think the strangest thing was we talked to a school one time. We were talking, me and this other guy, and he asked the question. He goes, "How many of y'all have cell phones?" Well,
of course, every
kid,
yeah.
And they all raise their hands and stuff. And he goes, "How many of y'all have y'all's phones locked?" You know, because you need to have it locked. And so they're like, yeah, okay. How many of y'all's parents know your code to your phone?
Uh-oh.
And then a bunch of them were like, "Oh, my parents know my phone." Well, we got a problem with you and your parents, because they should.
Yeah.
And he would always say, because when I come to make that arrest, when we run that warrant,
the
name coming back is your mom or your dad. And guess who's going to jail? Your mom and dad, one of the two. And it's like, they need to have access to your phone. And there shouldn't be anything you doing on that phone that you wouldn't want to show them.
Yeah.
And I know we say that.
Right.
But, kids have their secrets. People have their secrets and stuff. So, but that kind of resonated a little bit. It was like, man, and you looked at the kids and hey, I'm on Discord, I'm on Twitch, I'm on all these different things. And you're like, ooh,
Yeah. So, Randy, what about some of this, these websites that, that deal with, I mean, I've heard of the term like Tor and these kind of worlds where
dark web,
dark web stuff. Because I know
part of that going to be one of my next questions.
Part of that world that you probably dealt with was things through that. What's that all about for people out there who've just kind of maybe heard the term dark web, and what exactly is going on with that stuff there?
I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it, and so what's the demographics of your audience? What's the age?
Everything. But we have one of the most intelligent audiences. Our audience is so smart that they can't do the 40 character thing. We had to come up with an email. We get 2 and 3 page responses to our episodes. So we have some smart people. We're really lucky.
I realize there's different levels where you can explain this, but just so you remember most people can.
Well, how do you say it? What, a 10,000 foot view?
The 10,000 foot view.
So you remember back in the day when Napster came out? It was sharing music, and so you had we all had computers, and so you had part of a song, and you had, each one of us had part of a song, but you could go and download it and kind of get it, and so that's kind of like I guess the best way is, you're getting stuff from somewhere not so is a shared information.
Okay.
I guess. And so they'll go and they'll get the information or download. Let's say they download some Child Born or whatever, and so there's a couple of sites like Kicks. If I hear the word Kicks, I'm like, oh yeah, child predator, no doubt, because Kicks is one of the biggest ones for like child images, kids on there.
You said Kicks?
Kicks, Kikx. K-I-K. Let me make sure. I think it's Kiks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, whenever I would see that, I'm like, oh yeah. And I think just recently, it's the Kicks messaging app. A girl I know, her husband was arrested, and she was like, oh, he wasn't, I don't know, and it was some Kick app. And I'm like, he's done. I was like, yeah, it's over. Because that's everything we've seen from there. It's been that. And now, they're doing it more on their phones, not the computers anymore. And the layers of encryption that they think that, as an agency or as you can't get past, but you can get past it, and get into the things. And then most of these platforms are very law enforcement friendly. I know a lot of people talk about Meta, but Meta, you will never see an image, a child image on the Meta platform, because everything is scrubbed before it goes. So does that tell you how?
Well, Meta is just a CIA front. I mean, all you have to do is look back.
Right.
It's a proven fact. It's a CIA front. When it came back to show your picture from 30 years ago, next to your picture today is when all this facial recognition was coming out, and people willingly turned in their face to be programmed into the facial recognition. And then all of a sudden, they started coming out with, what's your favorite color? What's your dog's name? What street did you grow up on? And these people were listing these 20 questions on Meta that were the 20 questions that normally you ask on your password protection stuff.
Yeah, never give that information out.
But that was what was happening on Meta.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were doing. That is a Mark Zuckerberg front. He is, I believe, him and what's the dude's name?
Bezos?
No, that committed suicide, that's living in Argentina.
How did he commit suicide if he's
Shit. Epstein.
He didn't
Epstein was
Epstein
a CIA operative. Yeah. He's living in Argentina right now. He's not dead. That's why when Trump and Bondi and Patel come find out, they can't release all this information because his ass is in Argentina. So that's all they were doing. They are information trackers, and they're selling that information to people, CIA, NSA, advertisement companies. That's how they make their real money.
So I don't know about the conspiracy theory part of it, I guess.
Right now, just for the records, conspiracy theorists are up 72-0.
But
good old Stoney. You can always trust him to throw that out there.
In case you're interested, I was able to find some analytics. We're predominantly male, and it is between the ages of 20s and 30s and 50s and 60s. Is our show. We had mentioned that before. Right. I was able to find it somewhere. So I knew we have it in there somewhere.
Right.
So,
okay.
But Meta scrubs like any child type image prior to it ain't going out. And so my thought always when I heard it, I was like, man, how many images go across their platform? I'm like, damn.
I wonder how many they're scrubbing.
Yeah,
I've heard like testimonies about people. I think before they moved over to like a more AI scrubbing software before it was good.
Right.
I think it was human based, and there was people that were like, "Oh yeah, I've seen some of the most unheinous things doing that work," and it was not good apparently for them because they were like, "There's some of the most awful stuff in the world that came across their screens," and I was like, "That's scary."
Yeah, it's a bad thing to look at.
Oh yeah.
And did a lot of that.
I mentioned Tor. Is that still a thing today?
It's still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a thing.
It's like it's a way to access the dark web.
Yeah, that's my understanding. That's the nexus point that you go through to get to some of this unsavory type
so
world.
like we would use something like we would use
it
something
has
like,
layers.
Yeah, we have like Google Chrome or
right.
Internet Explorer or whatever you. I guess that's actually kind of antiquated now. I think it's Microsoft Edge, but like you use these like browsers to access the internet, quote unquote, the nice public side of it. But then there's this kind of underbelly that you can't actually get to. Yeah, and there's these browsers that you can get that apparently can.
I think my understanding, I read Tor was actually developed by the CIA. Actually,
really?
Come on. I believe it was originally as a way to basically deal in the unsavory side of the underworld where they could. I mean, look, if you're gonna mingle, right? If you're gonna mingle with these kind of characters, then you're gonna have to go into their world and deal with them. So, but I understand that it's kind of Tor's kind of out of it's newer things.
Well, there's
now.
other thing, newer stuff. It's like the FBI has that whole floor of 15 to 17-year-olds, hackers working every day. They've got the monster dispensers and the pot dispensers. You go where the people are, and these kids are the smartest. The FBI hires them. The CIA hires them. I've said for years they need to get Magnus and bring him. I know he's only 15. Go ahead and get him now. Start grooming him. When he's 18, he'll be their best operative.
So the thing about it is like, I want to say, I can't remember what the stats were on where the real internet is and where the dark web is.
Yeah.
And I think the real internet's like only 20%, and the dark web's like 80, or it's a high number. And so the torrent, the BitTorrent, you have to go through an onion route. You got to, it's like layers. I always think of Shrek, onions have layers and layers. So it's changing.
Yeah.
It's like a password sequence. And once you get into it, then it's not something that we would enjoy, because when we're on the internet, we're used to browsers. Yeah. We're used to, ease of access and stuff. This is like the old school where it's you better know where you're going, and you type it in, and
you also better know how to protect yourself.
Right.
Because there's been
you're wide open.
You're
wide open.
I have had some friends that have been curious and tried to do some, young teens back in the day, trying to get to places you're not supposed to belong, and have gotten themselves into some pretty scary situations. They're like, "Oh, I'm in over my head." It's like, yeah, well, you're
Right.
playing in a place you want to be playing in.
Right, because you can buy anything in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you can buy it all, but it's like it's kind of like back in the DOS days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's really what it looks
That.
like. And you have to know what you're typing in, and then you can pull up different categories, and you click on it and stuff, and it's just the basics of the internet and stuff. And I mean, if somebody's going to the dark web,
They're kind of beyond. They're beyond the normal casual type of person. That's somebody that's looking for trouble.
yeah.
You know.
And,
Well, for years and years, especially when I started in protective services in the early 80s, information brokering was where it kind of was. Everything was about the information. Who had this on what, on this, on that. And the web is kind of the same thing. What about kids clicking on the Disney site and getting 15 trackers, information trackers, just from what can we do there to protect? Because they know kids are going to go to Disney. They know parents are going to go Disney to book the flights. I mean, the hotels and things like that. How can we protect ourselves just in the normal cruising the web?
So, I mean, if you want to do that, then don't cruise the web. Well, honestly,
No, I understand that.
Honestly, and it's unfortunate, but
If that's the answer, then that's why I asked the expert.
But that's how they make their money.
Sure.
And that's how, that's the whole scheme of it, is your information. I mean, ad services on your phone.
Gosh,
Like
I hate them so much.
how does it know that you're in Houston and now
Right.
hey, have you eaten at this place, or is the ad services that your phone's broadcasting out and stuff, and it does that, and I'm like, man, I just use it to my advantage. I'm like, all right, I wonder where I'm gonna be able to eat,
Well, it's like if you go to Japan and you have your cell phone and you're walking in the mall,
Right.
there's little antennas outside some of the shops. And as you walk by, if you walk in right now, 15% coupon.
Right.
Japan has some of the best technology on their cell phone. We use our cell phones to probably about 20 to 25% of the capacity. They're probably in the 60 to 75% capacity of using their phone for what it can do.
Like, what do you mean? Yeah, I mean,
Just
kind
what
of
you can do with
expand
it.
on that a
We
little
use
bit.
it. We doom scroll.
Well, yeah, we
Okay,
gotta look at the
this
internet.
phone
or
has
whatever.
10,000 the computing power of what they put the man on the moon with.
Right.
There's a lot these phones
Our
can do.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like I said the other day. The Japanese have the greatest toilets, but they have no Mexican restaurants and no Taco Bells. That's like having a Ferrari and driving at 15 miles an hour. Okay, we're not using our phones to the full potential that they really could. And I like what you said here. I use it to my benefit. I do this for my benefit. And I think that's kind of like a call to action there. Start using this technology for our benefit and not just doom scrolling with it.
Right. And then, so a lot of people get on the different platforms, I think TikTok, Instagram and all that, and they search whatever. And then it'll, okay, this is what he's searching. So now we're going to start sending him stuff that he's searching, but then they're going to go with the algorithm. Oh, this is what he's searching, but he's a male. What are most of your males seeing? So we're going to start sending that to see, because they're looking at how long you stay on it,
Right.
and stuff, and so like I usually use TikTok because a zero turn mower. I'm looking for a zero turn mower, and boy, let me tell you, there's some good videos on that and stuff. And then every once in a while I'll get like I'm trying to think of the one I got. The latest was like home building. Because I'm thinking
There's
about
some great videos on
right.
that.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking about finishing my upstairs. I'm like, man, I don't remember ever typing this in, but now I'm looking at home building, And then what I hate like when I'm looking at the different videos, they'll go to the live videos.
Yes, I can't stand
And
that.
I'm like, so I'm trying to figure out a way. I want to block that. I want to stop that live stuff coming in because it's interfering with me trying to look at what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And then the live videos have nothing to do with what I'm looking at. I'm like, I don't want to see a person fishing. Where did that come from? But I'm a man. Men fish.
But I think it's part of that system of, well, let's see how long we'll throw this at him and see how long it takes him to click off. If he clicks it, we know that's not for him.
Right. Everyone knows, at least in this, or maybe not our guest, but everyone who listens to this show knows that I've talked about being interested in flying and potentially getting my license and working in that progress as well. And I have been looking up things, and I've been downloading apps for certain stuff, and been tracking certain flights, and just kind of having fun with like looking at radars for our local area and all this stuff, all the fun little things I think is cool. And I've also made mention recently, I've not looked up anything about it online, but I've made the joke before where I was like, probably if there is an alternate life, there's probably an alternate version of me out there somewhere that, like, right after high school, I joined the Navy to go fly fighter jets. Like, that's just a thing. Like, it's a little secret thing that I've always felt deep down that I was like, I don't think in this lifetime I'll ever actually do that. I don't think I want to do that really. But there's this side of me that's like, man, fighter jets are really cool and I would love to fly one. And I've said that before. And then sure enough, on Instagram, I was like scrolling through, and man, I get some of the coolest F-22 Raptor videos. I get some of the coolest videos about stuff, and I'm like, okay, I see. You know me. You know what I'm.
I'm gonna start getting pilot license.
Yeah, you're right.
Now.
Yeah.
Friends gonna be like, hey, you wanted to be a pilot?
Right,
no,
right.
I never said that.
Yeah, exactly. But look at this cool jet, though.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
But he wants to buy a new jet. You know?
Exactly. So.
But yeah. So I mean, you got to. The technology's there. It's not going away. You got to use it to your benefit. And so the other big thing is, like, I use Grammarly.
Okay.
And I like it because, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, comma goes there, and I'm pretty good at picking up words, and pretty good at I'm well spoken. I feel, and I understand, you know, but sometimes it's like, oh, you're talking past tense, present tense, you know, and it's like, well, I don't really want to know that, you know. But, but that's what I got Grammarly for, and a lot of people's like, well, you're using the AI. I'm like, yeah, I'm using it. It's helping me. Because I'm reading, like when it says, hey, a comma goes here, it tells you, hey, this is why the comma goes here. Or this, and so it's educating me on stuff I learned. And I'm thinking, man, I know I learned that a long time ago, but it wasn't important to me then, you know. So, so there's little things that kind of stick in your head and stuff. So it's about learning as well, because we're not using it for learning. We're using it for, you know, oh man, this is just a fun tool or something, or just a mental get away from the world, because a lot of people do use it mentally to get away from the world because they're either in a bad place or stuff. And I say, but use it cautiously. Don't take everything to heart. And, you know, most people know what's right and wrong. And if people are asking you, because when I was at the school we were at, it was a Catholic school, so I'm about to get Catholic on you a little bit. So they would always talk about, you know, bullying. And they always said bullying. And so I was sitting in the meeting, and I was a president of the school board, and I was sitting in the meeting, and they kept saying it. And I'm sitting, and we had a priest on the thing. He's sitting next to me and stuff. And he's like, man, what are we going to do? I said, well, you know what? Why don't we tell these kids before they send anything out that if they're mad or whatever, they should pray it before they say it. And he was like, oh, I like that. And I'm thinking, now to this day, I'm like, man, I should have trademarked that. Because we're talking about money. But but it is just not even if you want to use pray it before you say it, but before you send anything like hostile out or something like that, really think about it, you know, and think about, you know, you're about to send something out that's not only a reflection on you, but then you're sending something out. Do you really need to say something hurtful or hate? And because I've always went to the thing when people say they hate people.
Yeah,
I'm like, how can you hate somebody? I mean, how can you hate somebody you don't know, if that makes sense? I've had to meet you, talk to you, and be with you for a while before either I like you or don't like you. But a person that's on the computer, how do I know you? Or I think it gets in this whole concept where, you know, oh, I hate this person, the star or whatever, because of this and that or what they said. Well, how do you hate them? You never sat in the same room with them.
Parasocial relationships are a messy thing.
So it's like that's I've always found that disheartening a little bit.
Relations are digital now.
Oh yeah,
you know. Oh, Randy, I've got a kind of looking off into the future. You know, what do you see as the next frontier in online safety? So, what are you seeing down the road that's coming? That, and we've talked about AI, but I mean, what does that mean, kind of to the layper? What do you see, kind of coming down the road next 10 years? I bet me notable.
So think about this. As far as that goes, what you have through Microsoft, you're gonna have Windows Defender. That's your Defender thing. You have the different, I think the different operating systems for the phones, because Apple, whenever they update, they're updating because, hey, we found a vulnerability. We want to fix that vulnerability. We're going to go to the next one.
Or they want to shorten the battery life, so they got to make you buy another phone.
Right, and change to go to the Type-C cable. I'm waiting to see what the next power cable is going to be.
It's all wireless.
I love that we're finally, like, the universal serial bus is actually finally becoming universal. That's the one thing I love.
So do you know there's a side to it?
What you mean?
The Type-C, there's a side to it. So sometimes when you plug it in, it says, charging or whatever. But sometimes when you turn it over and plug it in, it says super fast charging. There's a side to it. I know, it's just round. Look it up.
Okay.
It's the craziest thing ever. And the only reason why I noticed it was...
That may be a I don't know, is it all cables or is that like a...
It's pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Because I had a cable and it said, make sure you put in the side in right. I'm like...
Interesting.
And so I read, and it's like the Type-C... certain way, there's one side that's better than, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I just love that we're finally getting to a point, because there was me growing up, it's like, it's universal USB, and it's like, but it's not. There's 7 different kinds of USB, but now we're finally getting to a point where everyone, even Apple, is going towards USB-C, and I'm like, finally.
Right. I think the EU drove that.
Yeah,
good.
They should. Class action lawsuit.
They should.
because over there, the market wasn't there for them.
Yeah, right.
That's all been Android. Yep. So they want that market,
of course.
And that's why they're trying to get more into the business sector and stuff. But most of your stuff is Windows based. That's where it's all at. But back on the different security platforms, I mean, you got your Windows Defender, you got you different.
The thing that bothers me with that
platforms.
is, Bill Gates stole Microsoft from somebody else, but he promoted it and changed it and did it right. But who invented the first virus?
Probably somebody in there testing.
Bill Gates invented the first virus.
Yeah.
So he should be the one. They're not really. They should be the forefront of virus protection, and they're not. He showed that there's a vulnerability and then sold you the protection for the vulnerability for his own damn platform.
So you remember Norton used to, and Norton still is good. Norton still is good. I have malware, anti-malware, and you can have all these different platforms, but if you're not updating it,
they're about useless.
They're about useless. And so I run the malware platform because that's how it's coming.
I use malware and CCleaner.
Yeah, and I'll use CCleaner to clean every once in a while and stuff. Like right now, I have the big Windows 10, 11 thing going on, which that's another world. But I think in the future, the AI is going to get so much better at being able to be ahead of some of these things, because right now everything's on the back end. So something will happen and then, hey, we need to fix this,
Right.
And that's how they've kind of been. So hopefully because I know they're doing some stuff where they're actually trying to create stuff and get ahead of it, so that, and I think the AI will get better, and most of these platforms use it. And that's where I think the future will be. It'll probably be a little bit more locked down. Which
I think the new one they're going to call Skynet.
Yeah.
Do you foresee them employing AI? We talk about AI from an offensive. Do you see the implementation of AI into defensive frameworks, into firewalls and stuff like that to prevent any type of intrusion? Do you see that coming more and more?
I would like to interject on that one a little bit. There was a company here, and it was a true AI virus checker that never needed updating. It was Mutant. Did you hear about these guys?
Mm-mm.
And they got bought out by Norton and destroyed because you never had to buy another platform again to combat.
I think I do remember them.
Yes, I still on my, and I even got a attorney letter saying on my little 3x5 or the floppy disks, I still have a copy of that somewhere in all my stuff. They wanted that back because I was a beta tester for them. And that was the last, and I believe they were using some type of an early AI because it mutated to anything new on your computer. Because what you did was when you bought a computer, you installed it. And so anything that happened from then on, it was ready for it.
So it's almost like an immune system.
An immune system, kind of. It was fascinating stuff. But Norton came in, bought it up, and destroyed it. And that's that company. That's that little big build. It was a huge building.
I remember.
Now
I'm thinking about it. Yep. I do remember them.
That was, I believe. Now, I didn't know then, but I think that was probably an early form of AI. Just the way it mutated and did stuff. I'd like to find that. I may have to find that copy of that stuff.
So how many viruses the Macs, Apple computers?
I mean, obviously, I know you don't hear a whole lot about it because I think it restricts so much, which I think is a good thing and a bad thing sometimes.
It does restrict so much, but where is your biggest market of people on, like industry-wise?
It would be Apple, wouldn't it?
They're going to be on Windows.
Windows.
Yeah.
Windows.
Android.
Yeah. So what platform do you think they're going to try the hardest to be able to get into?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're going to go where the money's at.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go where the businesses are,
Yeah.
They're all using it. And, it's kind of funny now because you're seeing a trend shift a little bit. And I think that'll be coming too, is most kids coming out of school right now, most of them are dealing with either the iPad or Apple computers.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Most of your schools, high schools and stuff. And then like when my son got to LSU, it was like, if you're not in creative design or whatever, you really don't need a Mac. You need a Windows-based computer. And it's like, well, what's his, because he's had a Mac.
Yeah.
His whole life growing up, and they both have Apple iPhones. So, and me and my wife both have Androids. But that's what Apple's trying to do. Apple wants to get into the marketplace because they're saying, hey, you're having to retrain all your workforce when they know this platform. The problem is the back end of it, because everything, Windows Server.
Well, that's what I was saying. Again, for me, it's me being in like the creative design world. That's what I do. I edit videos. I do Photoshop. I do camera stuff. Like that is my, and I do like the big thing is now it's branching out into music for me now too. So like I'm going to be using Mac for music production as well.
Right.
So it's like it's good for what it does, but a lot of times other aspects of the workplace use Microsoft Word, use Excel, use a Microsoft-based server, and so like and then again, there's like I try to be respectful of people's money. There's some older people that have been like, hey, what should I get for like a computer? I want to get a new laptop because the one I got it's an old, whatever Windows-based, one they got down the road at the nearest Best Buy or whatever. And there's a couple of people they've been wanting to transfer over to Apple, and they want to get themselves a new laptop. And I'm like, that's totally fine. You're gonna pay for the name.
Right. You're paying for it.
You're gonna pay for the name and potentially some security that you don't know that you have, and is it worth that much to you? Because again, I can get you a Windows-based laptop that's good, that can get you off the ground, and it's going to be nice, and you're going to be able to peruse Google and do your Word documents. Is that what you want to do, or do you want, And so I think that. So I'm saying that because I also tell people the same thing, where I'm like, if you don't have to spend the crazy amount of money on getting a MacBook, or getting
MacBook Pros are expensive.
Yeah, very expensive, especially the one that I have right now. I got the latest one. Whatever 3 years ago was, so whatever that version of it is,
the new M5.
Yeah. And so, I don't have any of that stuff. So I think I was like M3 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it has its aspects. Where again, I love that. My personal stuff I have here is all Windows based stuff because I've used that for years, and I also like to protect myself, and I like to peruse the files and get into places that normal people, the layperson, doesn't want to get into,
So Microsoft, so Apple's seen it, and so they've got great vision, honestly.
Yeah.
So they brought in Microsoft, and
really,
yeah. Microsoft now is software driven.
Yeah.
Just about any app now, any because I used to download the Adobe. Oh, I got Adobe. I downloaded CS5. I got it. Yeah. You can't get it. Everything's subscription based.
Yep.
Everything is subscription based. Microsoft subscription based.
Follow the money.
Yep.
But guess what? Subscription based can run on a Mac, and so they're like, yeah, we can partner here. We can start working, and that's because Microsoft wants all the market,
of course.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we'll partner with Apple. We'll partner with Windows. We'll have both markets. And then Apple's like, we want the market. Well, everybody uses Windows, so we'll partner with Windows.
Yeah.
So and I think you're gonna see that. You're gonna see more people trying to transition over to the Macs, just because. But the price, but they're saying that their price is going to be competitive.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to lower that price. And then with the Vision, the
oh my gosh,
Apple Vision,
we'll get there one day, but that's not meant for a consumer.
Yeah, I've
right
seen
now. Yeah,
that thing is. I'm telling you, that is bad.
Yeah,
that is.
It is really. It's so cool, but it is definitely with that
what
price
makes
tag,
it? What I mean, so
it's like augmented reality. So you put this headset on,
Oh,
and
that-
instead of
yeah.
yeah. So I have the Oculus Quest, which is like a real VR headset.
That's what
so
I have.
it closes you off to everything around you, and then like you're in this virtual space. Whereas the Vision Pro,
It's spatial.
you put it on. Yeah, you're looking at your real world, but then there's things overlaid over it. So you got like text messages here. You got a whole window. You can have like a whole huge theater movie screen, and it will darken the world around you. It's just cool stuff. But the price tag on it is like, this is definitely the first iteration,
right.
and I do not think
It'll
it's not
get
meant,
cheaper.
It's not meant right. I think the later versions of it.
We're going to that. What was that movie? Ready Player One.
Oh yeah.
That's where we're going to.
We got.
So
I think the first kinds of Apple Watches were in that same vein, where I think they were like not very great, but like super expensive. And I think it's
like
thing.
any tech.
Yeah, of course, we'll get to that point. But right now,
Yeah, and I think their concept behind it was great.
Oh, yeah.
But because they wanted industry, and then what's cool about it is, like, you could be working on let's just say a generator, and you could pull the schematics of the generator up.
Yeah.
in what you would call a HUD. you
Yeah.
know, and have it on a true 4K frame,
mm-hmm.
and then actually you could put overlays over what you're working on, and actually physically work on it with the display.
If you've
on.
ever seen like Iron Man, like he can move a thing around,
Yeah.
or like Star Wars or something. Like you have like a 3D model of something,
Right.
where you
Yeah.
can like move it around and
Yeah.
make it bigger. It's like same sort of stuff. You
Okay.
can just be on your coffee table in your living room, and you're like, okay, let's look up this like 3D model of this thing, and I can spin it around, and it's
You
cool.
can take it apart.
yeah,
you
yeah,
can do
yeah.
all
It's
that.
cool stuff.
But then you could actually work on stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's and they were talking about online collaboration, like when a surgeon's doing surgery and he could collaborate with other surgeons from around the world,
Yeah.
and they could be in there with you, and man, I'm like, yeah, but there's a price tag associated with that.
Yeah, it's like
And so-
anything.
Cutting edge has a price.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
but and I know it kind of skirted around what you had asked, but I hope I think the AI is going to make the viral protection stuff better. I think that's
You see more of that being built in on the defensive side to basically combat the offensive side of AI. So
Right.
okay,
Right.
and that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of where I thought. Just if there was something else maybe you were aware of.
Is there
That
anything
might be coming.
you want to touch on specifically before we round out the show? Or is there anything that you want to touch on?
There's just so much we could have talked about
Of
tonight.
course.
We can do a second episode a little bit.
Yeah, on another topic,
Yeah,
Now that you're a pro at the podcast thing there, you know how it goes.
All right.
We can think about it and do a whole nother episode.
I told my son, because I guess I didn't tell him. I called him and said, yeah, I'm about to go on a podcast. He said, what?
Oh, you just got some points with your son. See,
and I said I've been watching Sean Ryan, so I'm getting ready.
Yeah.
That's a great show.
Oh, it's a great show. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. You can get Sean Ryan,
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
there's no-
What are you doing? And I'm like,
great.
And then when I called home to tell him, hey, reminder, and he's like, oh yeah, you're doing that tonight, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's fun.
Yeah, so it kind of puts you into perspective, I guess. But no, I mean,
well, I'll put it in perspective for you: 65 countries and 1,100 cities across the world.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
we've come a long way.
Yes.
Reach one person at a time.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, I think the topic that we're talking about, just internet safety or just any type of safety as far as the electronic devices go, there's so many different topics. We could have talked, specifically cybersecurity. We could have talked about just basic internet safety for kids on their phones. We could have talked about.
Maybe that's where we'll go in the future.
Well, I was going to say, if this is the introduction
maybe the introduction.
episode,
we have another guest like that. His name is Brandon, and he talks about 5th generation weapon systems, non-kinetic weapons, and we've done 4 with him.
I think so.
Three or four.
About three or four.
Yeah. So we're not opposed to that.
Yeah.
We'll hone in on one topic and have another episode about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
because I was kind of everywhere. So sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for having this conversation.
Thank you, Randy, for coming out and being with us.
Do you have anything that you want people to? Do you want us to point anyone towards anything in particular for you, or just kind of any links or anything like that, or websites?
I mean. They got to do it on their own. They got to educate themselves, do what they feel is comfortable. Never share information online, especially with somebody you don't know. Yeah. And then if you ever have a question about a text or a question about an email, call them.
Yeah.
Talk to them. Talk to the person.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of times we miss out on that. We miss out on the whole actually talking context.
Communicate with people.
We don't communicate that well, and I'm saying that, and I'm sure that when my wife listens to that, well, you don't communicate.
No.
You communicate with me better.
Yeah.
And whenever you don't, she's going to have that as a little snippet, and she's going to get on her phone and play it for you.
Yeah. You don't talk to me anymore. But so I think that's the biggest thing is when you have a question about something, and if it doesn't look right, ask, like physically ask. Don't text ask. Call about it and stuff, and be safe out there.
Well, we have obviously for our listeners, the spiel as normal. We have comment sections on Spotify and on YouTube where you can leave your more short form responses if you'd like. We also have our email address, getoffendedtogether@gmail.com, where you can send a little bit more of a long form response if the comment sections aren't big enough. Until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone, and God bless.
Thank you for allowing me to be here, and I appreciate it, and I'll look forward to doing it again in the future.
Looking back, every generation has faced new dangers, from the factory floor to the front porch to the feed. Ours just happens to live behind a glowing screen. But history reminds us of something simple. Every threat loses its power when people start paying attention. So let's make online safety more than a buzzword. Let's make it a habit, a household rule, and a generational promise. Because the future deserves more than our data. It deserves our protection. Thank you for hanging out with us today. You're the best. Peace.